Right, everyone depends on technology, including, of course, yours faithfully here. But the UN says 37% of women globally do not use the internet, and 259 million fewer women have access to the internet than men, even though they account for nearly half the world's population. Now, if women are unable to access the internet, they are unable to develop the necessary digital skills to engage in digital spaces. Now, this diminishes their opportunities to pursue careers in science and technology. It's the reason behind the United Nations observance of this year's International Women's Day under the theme Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. The observance will explore the impact of the digital gender gap on widening economic and social inequalities.
Joining us now is the Women's Rights Manager for Action Aid Nigeria, Niri Goyit. I hope I got that right.
Yes, you did. Good evening.
Happy International Women's Day.
Yes,
Thank you very
indeed.
much. Thank you.
Well, it's a fine day. Perhaps let's recap the theme, because when we talk about digital technology or digital, perhaps men would want to hear from you first time.
Okay. Yeah, so we're in a digital world, and women are marginalized, across different spaces, and, it's an opportunity, for stakeholders to sit on the table to talk about how women can be included in the digital economy, because as we know, information and communication technologies are very important, for development. So we want to see women, as equal players as well in the digital economy. Yeah, it enhances the lives of women, on different fronts. It helps to enhance women's capacities. Women are able to, to access educational opportunities. It's a better playing ground for women, compared to the traditional society where women are marginalized. They can access information for sexual and reproductive health rights. You have apps out there that help to enhance women's health and all that. The digital space also allows women and girls to get economic opportunities, to also raise income. It helps them to network. It helps them to mobilize and, continue to speak on issues that pertain their lives.
Right. I mean, apparently, women inclusion in technology is very, very far-reaching. But when you consider the cost, I mean, that it costs about $1 trillion in developing world and countries, middle-income countries like Nigeria. How exactly is Action Aid and organizations like yourself, helping to close this gap? How specifically are you doing that?
Okay, so we deliberately program around that. So Action Aid particularly, supports women's rights organizations, and currently we are funding over 130 local women's rights organizations, and some of these organizations design interventions, that that target women, enhancing women's ICT skills. Like one of the interventions that our local partners carried out during the COVID lockdown was the e-learning hub in Kebbi State for girls, to prepare for their SSC. We have had interventions where local women's rights organizations develop apps that help girls to monitor their menstrual cycles, create safe spaces for women and girls online to discuss issues of gender-based violence, access psychosocial support online, and then we also have a very big platform called the Feminist Hub, where lots of information about women's rights are on the hub. Scholars, women activists and all that can upload their journals, their papers, reports, and we have women across the globe accessing this information.
This issue of digital and women being left behind, where is it more prevalent, and where do you think, more force needs to be applied to ensure that women are not left behind in the digital race?
Okay, so I think it's across board. All hands need to be on deck. So the digital space itself needs to be made safe for women and girls to to function in. Because women also go through what we call tech facilitated gender-based violence. So we need the government, you have online bullying, online sexual harassment, so some of these women and girls shy off from these digital spaces because of that harassment. So that space needs to be made safe, and we have some laws and policies that have been put in place by the federal government. We have the Cybercrime Act, we have the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, we have the Data Protection Law and all that. So women and girls need to be aware of these laws and policies. Then we also need these technologies to be made available. They need access,
right,
especially in the rural areas. So we need public-private partnerships where computers, communication tools can be made accessible to girls in the rural areas, to women, like the situation that we are facing right now about the non-cash policy, where we saw market women struggling to sell their goods and services because there was no cash. A lot of them, don't have bank accounts. They're not used to mobile banking, internet banking, and all that. So it's a very big challenge, and we need stakeholders to pay attention to these issues, to get women sensitized about this. They need access to these technologies. They need the skills. They need the support to be able to afford these ICT tools.
Let me close on this. Access as well as sensitization are very big here.
Yeah.
Apart from what the CSOs and the NGOs are doing, at what point does the government come in at any level of government, local, state, and federal?
Yeah, so government comes in terms of policies and also provision of these tools, in our educational institutions. Computer science, should be made, computer science should be made compulsory at different, institutions, from the primary, secondary. It shouldn't be something that is optional anymore, because the world is moving digital. So government also comes in, going into partnerships with tech organizations, getting them to give their corporate social responsibility to providing some of these tools free to especially government schools, where computer is not just taught theoretically, but they can actually access these equipments to learn and use them for their
Niri Goyit, Women's Rights Manager, Action Aid Nigeria. Thank you very much for what you do, and again, happy International Women's Day. That's where we'll have to leave it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.